Spilly on the rocks here. A weekend edition. Had a couple days where I've been traveling a ton. The last Spilly on the rocks I did, I mentioned after getting swept by the Padres and the Dodgers that most likely you were going to see changes. It happened. I told you it was going to happen, and it happened. It happened to Hensley Mullins. Bam Bam is gone. The hitting coach, the Rockies fired the hitting coach, and then they replaced him with Clint Hurdle. Now that move, you know, kind of knew one was coming. You just didn't know what it was going to be. And I guess, like in the case of Bud Black, some people speculated maybe it was Bud Black. Um, I didn't think it was going to be Bud Black just because the roster is what the roster is. It's a flawed roster. It's a young roster. There at this point now, there's 7 rookies on the roster, a bunch of young players trying to figure it out. A bunch of and like I'm telling you, the difference between minor leagues and the big leagues is the biggest discrepancy we've ever seen. Like good pitching no longer pitches at AAA. It goes from AA to the big leagues, and more younger pitchers are in the big leagues than in AAA. So even if you have good numbers in AA, well, you're facing like a handful of good arms, but they're all in the big leagues. All the good arms are in the big leagues, and the guys that can execute, spin, all that stuff, big leagues. So, you go AA, you think you're good. You go AAA, you think you're better. AAA players, the hitting environments, especially in the PCL, are like crazy good. Like I could get hits right now in the PCL. I literally I could go to the PCL and get some hits. Not saying that the competition that there's not like good professional players there. There are, but like the environments allow me to get hits. It's high altitude. It's fields that I could bounce a ball off home plate, bounce over the infield. So inflated numbers from AAA players. So when you get to the big leagues, you're going to get exposed. That's where all the pitching is. So if you have a hole, they'll find it. And for the Rockies, the offensive numbers are the worst in baseball across the board. It's also in their DNA. It's also in their DNA. It has been a swing and miss team for the last couple of years. They chase that, they have those numbers. It's the biggest chase percentage, biggest whiff rate in baseball. It's part of the personnel. It's part of what has been drafted. It's part of what, their roster is constructed. So I think for a hitting coach to get fired, the hitting coach job is the worst job in baseball. It always has been, always will be. You do not want to be a hitting coach in the big leagues because you're the first person to get fired, especially if offenses are struggling. It's so hard. It's harder to hit now in the big leagues than ever before. It's not just the approach. It's not just like, hey, hit the ball up the middle. Hey, swing at pitches in the strike zone. Because pitchers are able to tunnel in ways that we never have seen before because of technology, because of these labs that, basically are showing you, hey, you can spin the ball like this. These are your 2 best pitches. Just rip them. If you end up with a Tommy John surgery, it's okay, dude. You'll recover from Tommy John. If you get hurt in the big leagues, even better. You're getting big league service time. So the hitting coach job is just, you're waiting to get fired. I'll give you the example. Like, you think about a hitting coach at the end of every single night, every night, like the Rockies could score 45 runs and have 85 hits. There's somebody in that lineup that didn't get a hit. So even if guys were like 5 for 5, like majority, there's somebody that went 0 for 6, 0 for 8, and that guy's miserable. There's no such thing as a perfect night for a hitting coach. Even when a guy's hitting hard, they want hits. So Bam Bam getting fired. The Rockies go internal again. No surprise there. Clint Hurdle, who has been serving as a special assistant to Dick Monfort and to Bill Schmidt, he gets that appointed job. He was a hitting coach early in his career. He knows hitting, but at the same time, it becomes a pretty predictable move right here. I mentioned, a lot of people were speculating Bud Black. Well, if it was Bud Black getting moved on from, right, if he resigned, because they don't fire anybody with the Rockies, if he was let go or reassigned, it would have been Clint Hurdle. as the manager of the Rockies, most likely. I couldn't see them promoting Warren Schaefer from third base to the manager spot. I couldn't picture Jordan Pacheco or anybody in the minor leagues getting that opportunity. So Rockies again in this influx position. I personally, I continue to say I would love to see them bring people from the outside, audit the system, audit the organization. You know, it's not about selling the team. That is the lowest hanging fruit. I know people are clamoring like, Dick, sell the team. It doesn't do anything. You know, it's just like a new owner. And oftentimes I warn people, new owners don't mean a better team. It doesn't, because a lot of these guys that buy these organizations, they buy it on debt. And so it goes to debt service. And, you know, when you're servicing debt, oftentimes you'll see payroll getting cut, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with if the Rockies decide to do some payroll cuts. I don't mind that. It just means that you have to trade. That's what the Rockies really should be thinking about right now, because right now, after this weekend, the Rockies are now, I have to double check, but they are, I believe, 4-17, worst record in baseball. Luckily, there's a lot of things to get into. Luckily, they won Sunday night, second game of a doubleheader. I'll get into that in a second. Some other news that happened over the course of the weekend. We found out that Kris Bryant is on the IL. We don't know for how long. Talked about how his back has been bothering him. He got some injections in his back on Tuesday. They haven't worked yet. He is still like nursing this bad back. He has this lower lumbar. It's like a degenerative disc type thing. A lot of guys will have that. A lot of players have some sort of back issue. It becomes a pain tolerance thing. And, you know, when it comes to pain tolerance, it's such an unfair, like speaking from my experience and for most players in general, pain tolerance is such a frustrating term, because most people, you're like, oh, just sack it up. Just grind through it. Come on, aren't you tough? It's like, but you don't know what the pain tolerance is. It could be, for you, it could be a 10. For somebody else, it could be a 5. It could be a 6. For some guys, a 2 could be a 9 for somebody else. So, like, it's really subjective. It's really individualized. It doesn't mean you're tough or you're soft. It's just your body and how your body responds to it. So in the case of Kris Bryant, you know, he talks about, like, he's in pain. I feel for him. Honestly, I do. I feel for him. Do I believe that he's dealing with pain? Yes, I do believe he's dealing with pain. On what scale that would impact me? Don't know. It's not fair. But for him, it's certainly close to a 9 or a 10 out of 10 in pain. And he was asked this weekend about contemplating retirement. He said no. No, he's not contemplating retirement, but it is really frustrating. The last thing they want to do is have surgery. I wouldn't even suggest surgery. So I don't know what's going to happen with Kris Bryant. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't know if he's going to play. He's certainly never going to perform to a level. Never, ever. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And they got this year and then 3 more years on top of that. Disaster of a contract. It has not worked out. In altitude, it's even more amplified, especially given the market with the Rockies. Like, you're spending a lot of money for a player that hasn't been productive or on the field. Disaster of a contract. It goes right up there in the last 20 years with Anthony Rendon. It stinks. It's an anchor, and there's no question. Like, from a competitive standpoint, it really hurts the Rockies. From a human standpoint, I feel bad for Kris Bryant. I really do. The guy was literally in tears. You know, like, he wants to play. He really does. Now, what's the next step for him? Don't know. Don't know, like, how much you can strengthen it, how much you can help alleviate pain. But if alleviating pain means taking painkillers, that's not something you want, right? You don't want to have to live on painkillers just to play a game that you love. So we'll see. Disaster. I mean, like, that's the best way to put it right now. For KB, he would say it's a disaster. For the Rockies, it's a disaster. So, you know, you can say what you will. And all of it's valid. I mean, there's not an opinion that I would discredit and go, like, you're wrong. I think there's numerous opinions on it. Was it the right contract? No. At the time, everybody kind of league industry wise was like, what are you doing? Taking a shot on a player like that. Rockies went for it. I think part of it was to help fans forget Nolan Arenado in that trade to St. Louis. Here's a MVP Rookie of the Year. Here's a guy that's not going to rock the boat. And, you got the player, and when he's on the field, he's good. I get that. Totally get it. But, I personally wouldn't have done that contract just because I don't believe in long-term deals, especially for older players. At altitude, it doesn't make sense. Does not make sense. I'd rather see you turn over the roster, but that's not what decision was made. And fortunately, it is really backfired bad for the Rockies. So Nationals come into town Friday night. It got postponed due to snow. The first, night City Connect was going to come out, so we were going to get our first eyes on the new City Connect pullovers, and we had to wait till Sunday for Easter Sunday for a doubleheader. Saturday was another embarrassing game for the Rockies. First day for Clint Hurdle, and the Rockies swung and missed more than any game that they have all season. Mackenzie Gore shoved. He did a career high in whiffs that game. 17 strikeouts, second most, first most in franchise history at Coors Field. These numbers stink. There's no way around it. They stink. It's frustrating because part of it is young players trying to perform. I mean, they are legitimately trying. They're trying as hard as possible, and it's not working. So that stood out to me again, just the stretch. What's the Rockies' record going to look like at the end of this year? I'm telling you, they're in the strongest division right now in the National League West. And these National League West teams, Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, are the best teams in baseball. So you are in, bar none, not even an opinion. It is a fact. The best division in baseball right now, talent-wise, team-wise, is the National League West. And the Rockies, they have to match up against the Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, and Giants 13 times each. Last year with the White Sox, they lost 122 games in a division that saw 3 postseason teams. You saw you saw the Tigers, you saw the Royals, and the Guardians. Those teams couldn't hold water to these National League West teams. I don't even want to speculate what the possible win-loss record is for the Rockies at the end of this year, but it's not going to be good. And I pray that it's not historic, but they are on a historically bad path. And I like bleed purple. I want them to do good. There's not one bone in my body cheering against them. I'm not. But I'm also a realist, and I'm also telling you exactly how I see it. Rockies are due for change. And it's not coaching staff. It's not just that. It's personnel, it's philosophies, it's execution. It is bringing some people from the outside, getting a fresh set of eyeballs on this thing. It's changing how they do things, practice, player acquisition, all of it. The whole thing has to improve. If there is a silver lining here, that the organization has their eyes what are we going to do? Because you're just right now, you're just banging your head against the wall, wondering how to get better. And you have to look to the outside. You just do. So Sunday night, really important. We finally saw the City Connect jerseys. It looks way better on the field. These jerseys are pretty sweet. They're supposed to be capturing the colors of colorful Colorado. They're bright blue. I'm wearing the bright blue polo. The piping is pretty dope. It's orange and this bright pink. It looks good. The guys on the field, it looks good. The socks, the piping on the pants looks good. I think it 2 thumbs up. I'll give it 2 thumbs up. The pullover, I don't love a pullover. I mean, the last couple teams that have worn a pullover for regular season games, you can see the Cincinnati Reds used to rock those. Kansas City Royals used to rock those, and the St. Louis Cardinals used to rock the pullovers, but that was like 80s, early 90s. We haven't really had teams rocking pullovers since like the 90s. So I like it. I think it looks cool. It's a little different. The players liked it. Colorful shoes. So cool. We also saw some first for some guys. We saw Zach Veen hit his first major league homer. Still, like good kid. Way too much effort for the swing. We saw this kid, Braxton Fulford, who, good story. Rockies call him up after some injuries, and he's a catcher. Committed 3 errors on Saturday, 3 throwing errors. Last time that happened was like early 90s, early Rockies, and I believe it was Jeff Reed that did that, or Steve. No, Steve Reed was a pitcher. I think it was Jeff Reed. So 3 errors from a catcher, you'd never see. All 3 were throwing errors. So he ended up hitting his first major league homer, so happy for him. But that's not good. So I'm going to screen share really quick. Hopefully I don't make myself super small. But I wanted to show you this, which is, again, Rockies in the strikeout numbers are just ridiculous. 212 strikeouts, and this is not counting tonight's win. 220. I think this is actually before counting the doubleheader. So those numbers went up. They struck out, I think, about 15 times in both games combined. So they're at around 230 strikeouts as a team. The OPS numbers are brutal, 641. You want to have an on-base percentage about 10 points higher than your batting average. So right now their walk rate is right around 6%, which is, again, like, these are things that have to improve. So 221 batting average, that's okay. Part of that's always going to be buoyed by Coors Field, but the low on base, not good. The slugging is brutal. Slugging is probably one of the worst in baseball. 352. You want your slugging in like the 415s, 450s, and then you can get your OPS numbers up above 700. So right now they're at 641. To give you some context, 641, I would have got released if I had a 641 OPS. So they are 73 on the OPS plus. So 73 means they are 27% worse, lower than the league average. League average is at 100. You take in all OPS numbers as a industry. So OPS right now is brutal, right? Like overall OPS is at 701. That, and it's early in April, so these numbers are always really low. But the Rockies are like 7th worst. So you got White Sox, Royals, which is surprising. Pittsburgh's off to a bad start. Twins cannot hit. Astros is surprising. And you have Rangers and Brewers ahead of them, and those are postseason teams. So these OPS numbers need to go up. They have to find some walks. They cannot strike out as much as they're doing, and they're not hitting for any thump. So they only have 13 homers. The Royals and Blue Jays are playing pretty good baseball right now. But the Royals have 11, Blue Jays have 12, and then you have the Rockies at 13. And this is before the doubleheader. So they had 2 homers in the first game, so they're at 15. But then they haven't counted in these other teams. So as of right now, Clint Hurdle's not going to be able to solve that. So Clint Hurdle, as much as he's in with this team, is not going to be able to solve those numbers because a lot of it has to do with personnel. Personnel has to change, or you just kind of give these kids some runway. We have seven first timers on the roster, and some of those guys are not going to last. Some guys will. They'll eventually figure out. Really cool story though. On Easter, I'll try to give you a good story. Zach Agnos made his major league debut. Good kid. Is from, I think he's from back east. I think maybe Virginia. But the story there is Zach lost his dad in 2021. Obviously, that's a crushing blow. Just like Brenton Doyle. Brenton Doyle was put on the bereavement list. The story there is sad. I'm not going to share it. But in the case of Zach Agnos makes his major league debut. His mom's there. His mom's Lee. His brother Jake. And they both shared like how much they miss their dad. So cool story. Zach pitched well. Like he's got a big arm, 98 miles an hour with a split finger. I think that's big league caliber. I think he's a big league caliber player. And I talked to him after the game. Basically he said congratulations, buddy. That's awesome. You're a big leaguer, and your mom told me about your dad. Sorry, your dad's not here. I lost my mom. Had a nice little moment with him, but he said the same thing that I think all the time when I think about my mom is like, why do we have to lose the good ones? He said the same thing. Why we always lose the good ones? So obviously, in that case, if you have somebody as you're watching the Rockies and you want somebody to root for Zach Agnos. Root for Zach. And root for Zach Veen, another good kid. He was rocking like a headband today that said, "Not today, Satan." Oh man, we need more people like that. So not today, Satan. Anyways, there you go. Spilly on the rocks. You can follow me at SpillyGoat19, and then check out our boys at Mile High Sports. And we're back on the road. Rockies go to Kansas City, and then they finally get to be home for a 6-game stretch. So happy Easter, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll be back at it soon. Bye.